Hi, I'm Tatsuma Downing. I'm in the ninth grade, and I'm going to Cambridge Church and Latin School. I am focusing on how media affects how people view certain topics. I will be focusing on the transgender community in particular. Today, the person that will be with me is Dr. Della Fera, who works on the medicine program in the Greater Family Lawrence Health Center in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
I'm Dr. Della Fera from Greater Lawrence Family Health Center. I'm the medical director of our transgender care program.
Thank you. We've been studying imperialism and how Western countries affected their colonies. Now I am studying the transgender issues and how media has changed how we view them as Americans. How are these similar?
I think in many ways, media and culture in the United States are intertwined. Media has a very strong effect on our culture, and the fact that, for example, in the United States, the concept of treating someone as male and treating someone as female is a very heavily embedded concept, and the idea of what it is to be male and what it is to be female is heavily influenced by what we see.
Is it kind of like assimilation where there's like in imperialism there was like, for example, the French tried to institute their culture into other like countries because they wanted, like, they thought that their culture was better than the other culture? Is it kind of similar with media affecting people within gender stereotypes?
Sure, I do think it is. I don't know that it's intentional. I don't know that the media is trying to make Americans perceive male as one thing and female as another, but it's certainly playing into what is expected. There's an expectation, and media sort of has tended to, in the past, play to that expectation.
How have liberal news outlets shaped the views of many Americans on transgender issues?
I think, I'm biased in some sense that I feel as though the liberal media has the best interest of people in general in mind. Again, that's a bias, but I do think that the liberal media certainly has been pushing towards the idea of accepting everyone for who they claim to be and who they want to be and who they think of themselves to be. So take people at their face value. So if you say you're male, then you're male. Conservative media has tended to play towards fears for the most part, which is sort of sad in the sense that there's an expectation, for example, the whole discussion around the bathroom bills. They play towards the fear of people of not knowing what to do with the unknown. So it's the fear of the unknown. If I don't know a trans person, what if I meet them in the bathroom, what would I do? So I think the liberal media has been trying to shape the understanding that this is no different. What you go to do in a bathroom is what everybody does in the bathroom. It's not for the purpose of abusing anyone. And then the conservative media has been opposing that by saying, but what if, and trying to inculcate a certain amount of fear.
So what stereotypes exist, and how have specifically media and to like more specific news outlets help shape those stereotypes?
Right. So one of the things that I think many of us are most concerned about is the stereotype around the issues around the bathroom bill. So there's this fear, this unfounded fear that trans people are using this as a way of going where no one else should be allowed to go, for example. And so one of the things that's coming out of the stereotype that they're perpetuating is this notion of fear of someone who is different than them, and what if, maybe this would happen, when in reality, trans people have been using the bathroom of the right gender for the most part for years, and nothing has ever happened. So, while it's not as prevalent as you might have otherwise thought, or that might be represented currently, it's certainly true. And so now the question is this whole frame that's being set around fear, for example, the stereotype that these are people who are predators, for example, which there's no evidence for that. It's an unfounded fear. That's one stereotype.
Any last thoughts that you have about media and their representation?
Media is very powerful and very potent, so we have to be cautious, even when media is well assuming, when there appears to be, when the goal of the media appears to be positive and good, there's still a certain amount of influence that may be greater than we anticipate and greater than we intended.
And I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country.
And that media can unintentionally shape things in ways that we didn't expect. And I think that the more young people come to a deeper understanding of the needs of the transgender community or the LGBT community in general, the more understanding that you all can bring to the table, the better off people will be, because that's really the goal for most trans people, is to be able to be understood to who they know themselves to be, and be comfortable being that person that they are. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, and thanks for being here. I agree with Dr. De La Fera in most things, but I do disagree with him on one thing. I don't think that media outlets have the best intentions. Most of the media outlets, such as CNN and Fox News, are owned by 5 corporations, and how they make money is they sell time on their channels to advertisers. If the news outlet has a liberal audience, then the news outlet itself will have a liberal bias. This can also be said of conservative ones. I think most media outlets say what's acceptable to their audiences so they can sell ad time to make a profit.